The Brew House was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery, but the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewHouse.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the original Rochester Press Box presented by the mighty Genesee Brew House. We are at the Brew House this week for the show, and happy to see Todd Clausen, man about town from the Democrat Chronicle, back joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, Mike Catalana returns as co-host.
Good to be back.
Duffy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, we hear this had its genesis on the Dan Moriarty show on WHTK. A discussion about, everyone's going to talk about the Mount Rushmore, the four big people in sports. And this, of course, came up because Muhammad Ali just passed, and Muhammad's got a spot. I think Jesse Owens has a spot. The other two maybe are up for grabs. You want to dole one out?
Hey, my best guess is Jackie Robinson. Just iconic baseball player. And the thing about getting on the Mount Rushmore is talent and skills and stats and all that stuff in the game is one thing, but it's someone that transcends a sport and also brings a little bit of, I guess, social impact. Has a greater impact than just the game. And for what Jackie did, and how the Major League Baseball remembers him every year with the 42 on the back of his jersey, on everybody's jersey is just iconic and just something that I think in the baseball realm is probably unmatched by another player.
Guys, you got one?
I mean, I'm gonna go Wayne Gretzky, and I'll tell you why. Like, if you go Jesse Owens, I always try and judge whether or not my mom knows who we're talking about, how famous they are. From a pop culture standpoint, I'm not positive my mother knows who Jesse Owens is. But everybody who's anybody, whether you watch hockey or not, knows Wayne Gretzky. He changed an entire sport, and he pushed it into the popularity. It skyrocketed in the late 80s, early 90s. On top of that, when he was traded away from Edmonton, it was a national day, national week of mourning in Canada. He brought that sport to a hot weather city and made it thrive. So, yeah, one of them's got to go to Gretzky for me.
All right, so I'm going to go with Todd. The Jackie Robinson effect, because look at what happened. I mean, you go back in history and realize what it was like for a black athlete to try to play in sports. So that transcends everything. But you talk about social impact, and I'm going to say a guy who really had very little social impact, but he had so much impact on sports, and that would be Michael Jordan. He's a guy who shied away from the social impact part of it. But what Michael Jordan did for athletes was he took control. He got the control in terms of, Nike made whole campaigns about him. He took ownership of that. He made so much more money outside of his sport than he did inside of it. We may not look at it in the same way that we look at the impact of a Jackie Robinson, but for the athletes and for a long-lasting impact, I think he set the stage for guys like Tiger Woods and LeBron James and other athletes to become those guys. I think Michael Jordan would be on there.
Yeah, but that quote that he had, and I may be misquoting him,
Republicans buy sneakers too.
You got it. That burns me, man. Like you had a chance to make a social statement. They asked you to do it and you refused. Like, that's not a black mark on him?
No, it might be, but my point is his impact on sports in general, I think, is massive in that way. He was Babe Ruth, but after Babe Ruth. I mean, Babe Ruth didn't get the, it was a little different at times back then. But I'm talking about long-lasting impact. That's why I said it's not for social reasons. It's more from the athlete perspective. He's in control.
You bring up Babe Ruth, Todd. You bring Jackie Robinson. We had this argument on the radio, and I fell on the Babe Ruth side of it, as far as a baseball player being on Mount Rushmore, because Babe Ruth was a bigger-than-life character, and I put him up ahead of Jackie Robinson.
You're splitting hairs at a certain point, right? Babe Ruth certainly brought a lot of championships, a lot of long ball to the Yankees, And as Mike, as you're talking about Jordan, it makes me think about Tiger Woods, because he had that same impact on golf in terms of making it more popular for everybody, not just a certain segment of the community, but bringing the masses to it. And then there's all this marketing and Nike campaign behind it, and this, maybe not quite to the same degree of having, what do we got, like 25 different models of Jordan sneakers out there, or however many there are. But I just remember as a kid, you wanted a pair of Jordans, and then you moved on to Charles Barkley or whoever it was. But there has been a lot of great American athletes, and a lot of people. Some of it. Some athletes try to come out and
do social good, and maybe we'd be talking about Lance Armstrong in this degree if he didn't have his own set of problems.
Yeah, that's a funny example.
Yeah, but if he didn't have his own, doping
and Tiger
scandal,
Woods the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and these guys get built up, they come down, and then we love to see them come back and kind of try to rebuild themselves.
We'll discuss contemporary athletes and why they don't have more of a presence in the discussion when we return to the original Rochester Press Box. For over 25 years, Hillside Work Scholarship Connection has empowered youth to embrace their dreams of college and careers. Thanks to a dedicated staff and employment partners, every year Hillside helps more than 4,000 young men and women move closer to their life goals. The Buffalo Bills Quote of the Week was brought to you by the Rochester Geico Office. Give the Rochester Geico team a chance to see how much you could save on all your insurance needs. Call or stop by the office on West Henrietta Road, open Monday through Saturday. Cardell Jones is our Quote of the Week from Geico Rochester. Mike?
I'm worried about the quarterback situation with the Bills. Look, I like Tyrod, and I think Tyrod's going to play well, and we got to make sure he stays healthy. I am worried about EJ as the backup, and I'm worried that Cardell Jones is a ways away from being a viable player. I mean, you took a shot at a guy. He's a big physical kid. I think he's willing to learn. I think all that is great, but if you look at pecking order 1, 2, 3 in the league, the Bills is shaky at the moment. Cardell, the hope is he becomes a guy who can be the backup and eventually maybe be more than that, but he's a long way away from that.
Are they going to bring in another guy, do you think, another quarterback?
I think that depends more on EJ than it does on Cardell.
Where's the space? Where do you put him? You're out of parking spots in the parking lot. You got no, and who's it going to be, right? Mike, it could be Catalana coming in to play quarterback. That's all we got
You ready?
left.
You ready?
Hey,
Geico Rochester with our Quote of the Week. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box is brought to you by the Hillside family of agencies. We had a discussion about Mount Rushmore, Duffy, and you brought up Gretzky, semi-contemporary. Contemporary athletes have a tough time, it seems to me, getting on this list.
All right, I may hurt your guys' feelings. I'm going to apologize up front. It is because of old, crotchety sports guys that refuse to let go of the fact that the guys that they saw when they were younger are better than the guys that they're watching now. A guy like Babe Ruth has an advantage over a guy like Jackie Robinson because he was there first. Nobody had ever done what Babe Ruth had done before. A guy like Jesse Owens has an advantage over, any modern day, whatever, because he was there first. Like, there's one person that can break a color barrier. There's one person that can dominate a sport for the first time while it's the biggest sport of all time. Everyone after that, like, for example, if you would have told a guy who was 80 years old when Muhammad Ali won the heavyweight championship that he was a better fighter than Jack Johnson was, he would have laughed in your face. But that man died, and we move forward, and we all forget about Jack Johnson. Just like 40 years from now, someone's going to laugh in someone else's face when they say, Bill Russell was a better basketball player than LeBron James is now. It's all about timing and, how old the person is arguing about Rushmore.
But I think, too, we don't have these bridges to cross, it seems, anymore. They've all been crossed,
and
almost.
let's be honest. Muhammad Ali, right? If we had a current athlete, let the social part of it, again, there's a lot of people right away that say, give me my games, I don't want that part. So when it depends on what an athlete comes out for, even in elections, anything, they seem to get crushed for it if it's not your opinion. Secondarily, if we had an athlete, let's just say Steph Curry, it's not his personality. If he's standing in front of everybody saying, I am the greatest, we are crushing him as a society. We want you to say he's great. We don't want him to say it. Muhammad Ali could do that, and he needed to do that at the time. He's a black man in a white world who needed to get that attention. He did it, and he backed it up on the, in the ring. He was able to do that. I don't think an athlete can do that now. We don't want, look at even Ricky Henderson when he said, I am the man, or after he stole third base. We don't want that out of our athletes.
But there's more to it than bravado. There's got to be a cause.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, what's the cause? What's the cause that everybody's going to get behind? Against the war?
What's the cause? What's out there for us to...
Poverty.
Make our mark.
There's probably a lot of issues that you can find. I think the problem is when someone does latch on to an issue, it seems to be connected to some sort of marketing effort or something that doesn't seem altruistic. That doesn't seem like, hey, I'm really 100% all in. I need a little bit of my coin or whatever.
Gets us back to Jordan being on. He changed the world.
Right.
But to your point, like even Abby Wambach, who strikes a blow for sex equality in sports, she becomes a part of a marketing campaign for for Nike where they release a bunch of clothing and sneakers with rainbows on them. You're right. It's so disingenuous now, and it may not be the athlete's fault, but everything has to make money, and that may be what destroys Mount Rushmore for modern athletes.
All right. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Hillside Family of Agencies. Like it or not, is next. As we go to break, it is time for the Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning Trivia Question of the Week. When you're searching for a local heating and air conditioning contractor, look no further than one of the most reliable teams in the area at Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning. Is called Turnbull at 343-2005. As we come back from the break, time for the answer to the Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning Trivia Question of the Week. When you're searching for a local heating and air conditioning contractor, look no further than one of the most reliable teams in the area at Turnbull Heating and Air Conditioning. Just call 343-2005. See New York in a whole new way. Amtrak is offering a 15% discount for all travel inside New York State and to Montreal. Visit Amtrak.com for the See New York discount. Safe, comfortable, affordable, and easy. Amtrak. Enjoy the journey. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. We are at the Genesee Brew House, our proud sponsors here. And this portion of the Press Box brought to you by Amtrak Trains. Enjoy the journey. Todd, like it or not, the Steph Curry effect. You referee high school basketball games. They must be changing. You like it?
So, hey, success breeds imitation, and the reason why I think Curry, Thompson, Golden State, even OKC on another scale, their success is because of the rules that have changed. You go back, bad boy Piston days, guys are getting knocked to the ground and refs are just calling a common foul, 2 shots. Now, if you get close, if you accidentally hit someone below the waist, you're likely getting a technical foul, you might get a F2 and you're sitting out. The game has opened up so much. That's why these guys in Golden State, they're young, they're still running around, they're shorter careers, and like LeBron, who's definitely starting to age and showing it on the court. It's not necessarily about muscle and overpowering, but it's about grace and shooting.
Because it's relatively new. Yeah. I mean, the Golden State Warriors are on a 2-year run here. Are you noticing a difference in the way the high school game's played already?
If someone has a successful play, they'll run it and run it and run it. I was telling you guys off camera a little bit. I remember this 4th grade team. And yes, I've done 4th graders all the way up. And out of bounds play, and they ran that thing to perfection, probably had like 15 baskets off and won the game, and that was really the only thing they could do, but they got a layup each and every time off a back screen on it. Something works, people are going to do it.
Yeah. I love Steph Curry. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen in an NBA game. He gets his shot, great ball handler, all of that. The effect he'll have, I hope the one effect he doesn't have. We love Steph right now, but his actions on the court by a different player would be perceived as some of the cockiest things you'll ever see. He shoots the ball, starts running back before the play, some of his actions towards the crowd. But we love the guy, and he's unassuming. He seems outwardly humble, but his actions on the court are not that humble. I give him about another year after they maybe win this championship where some of that will start to turn. People will start to, because naturally they start to do, but he's pretty cocky on the court.
He has to keep being successful. We're going to see if he's Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, or if he's going to end up being Kobe Bryant or have a career like LeBron has.
Yeah, and everyone's going to chew their mouth guard. Duffy, like it or not, the Twitter death of Roger Goodell.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. I love everything that's going on with the NFL right now. It is a little bit scary that the NFL, being one of the biggest businesses in America, is susceptible to some kid living in his mom's basement, stealing a password and taking over the Twitter account. And how panicked do they have to be everywhere in New York City at the headquarters of the NFL, securing absolutely every document they have over the next couple of days?
It's not like they're paranoid anyway.
I love it. Now, of course, the man is all right. I mean, he's fine. But I love the arrogant NFL, and the smug Roger Goodell got burned from the outside. I loved every minute of it. I'm glad that the man is okay. I'm not sitting there rooting for his demise.
All the things they could have done.
It was so well done. And, and by the way, living in mom's basement, that seems like an old guy kind of thing to say.
Well,
really?
I'm out of my mom's basement, so I can say that.
A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, me and my wife were down there.
Like it or not, Madison Bumgarner wants to enter the home run derby.
Yeah, let him go ahead if he wants to do it. I watched him hit the ball. He can hit it pretty well. I would say it does say something about when they're worried about the taxing, of if he keeps going and going on. Watch the guy hit the ball. I'll tell you what. I'm a Phillies fan. He could bat in the regular lineup for them. They need somebody that can hit the ball. No, he can hit the ball. Might be a nice little, almost like a gimmick to do it if he wants to do it, but I don't think they want to let him do it.
That's it. Why the heck not? I think it would put some interest back in the thing. Good job. Unfinished Business is next. The Rochester Press Box Stat of the Week, brought to you by Cariglio's Pizza, with 5 locations serving the Rochester area. Visit carigliospizza.com today.
The Urban Eclectic Alternative, 100.9 FM, WXIR.
Extreme Independent Radio, Rochester, New York.
Our Rochester Press Box Genesee Brew House fans of the week are Dot and R.C. Thomas of Rochester. They received a $25 gift card for the Brew House and a Press Box t-shirt from Brew House staffer Amber. Congratulations, and thanks for watching the Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House.
Double down on your candy and coffee cravings with Dunkin's new Heath and Almond Joy candy bar flavored iced coffees. America runs on Dunkin'. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. We are on location at the Genesee Brew House. This portion of the Press Box, Unfinished Business, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat?
Story breaks coming out of San Francisco earlier this week that it looks like Blaine Gabbert is in line to get the starting quarterback job for the 49ers, which means Colin Kaepernick will again be a backup and soon be out of San Francisco, which makes me think, if he plays for somebody else, maybe this changes, but this makes Blaine Gabbert the biggest flash-in-the-pan quarterback in NFL history. You're talking about a guy that played in a Super Bowl, was the star of his own Madden commercial opening day last season. People were patterning their offenses after what they were doing in San Francisco, and he's done now. Maybe now more flash in the pan than a quarterback like Sean King, a guy who came out of Tulane. He brought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to an NFC Championship game, plays away from a Super Bowl, and played another great season after that, then completely disappeared. More flash in the pan than a guy like Mark Rippon, someone you'd never heard of before, who leads the Redskins to a Super Bowl and then completely disappears again after injury. For my money, even more than those two guys, Colin Kaepernick will be the biggest flash-in-the-pan quarterback in NFL history.
It's becoming almost more the rule than the exception in some cases, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they have moderate success, but to go to a Super Bowl and completely disappear when you had upside after you? I mean, Trent Dilfer, his stuff was done. We knew what this was. Kaepernick, he was supposed to be the future of this league.
Trent Edwards, don't you think? Qualifies as a...
Flash in the pan?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't even know if he
small
really
pan.
flashed. It was a very small flash.
Every time you watch a game, no matter if it's baseball, basketball, or football, there's a call, maybe 2, 3, or 4, depending on what you're watching, that you're going to hate the referees on. And you know what? In order to understand where these guys are coming from and understand the game, everybody should try to become a referee. Go out, join your local sports board, whatever it is. There are high school, intermediate levels, all sorts of levels that you can be a part of. You can learn about positioning, the rules, be better informed, because there's a lot of rules that people don't understand. And typically, the younger the age, the parents know even less than they do in high school. So I encourage everybody to find an opportunity, find a way to give back. You can earn a couple dollars, meet a lot of great people, and learn more, and more importantly, learn more about the games that you're watching.
How bad do you feel when you make a bad call? And you know after you've done it, it's wrong.
Hey, Mike, it's never happened. No, I'll say this. A couple years ago, I was doing a high school game, and it was the first round of the sectionals. It was like this player for the winning team, end of the first half, he's coming on a fast break. The kid tries to take the charge, and for some reason, my body just said blocked. And I count the basket. We put him at the line for one with like 1 second, and I come over to the coach and I'm like, sorry, I will never do that again. And just had my head shaved, and he was like, don't even worry about it. So we just kind of, bad calls do happen. We've all made them. We're human. That's a part of it. And I also think that's another part of what the public sometimes tends to forget, because let's get the call right. I mean, there's games, we saw it last year with the Buffalo Bills where where Sammy Watkins, he stopped and then rolled out of bounds, and they kept the clock going, and I'm there at my screen, no, those types of errors that everybody sees that blows up social media, let's fix, but let's understand what's going on with them as well.
I want to give a shout out to Dom Bazzelli. Congratulations. This is a young guy who has worked his way up. A lot of times we're guilty of it too. We pay attention to guys like Gavin Hall and eventually, Will Thompson, the young guys that are moving their way up. But Dom Bazzelli just won a Web.com Tour event. He's a McQuaid grad. He's a guy that played at Auburn. He's been at the lower level of professional golf, moved his way up, and right now he looks like a near lock to make it onto the PGA Tour next year. He has worked his way all the way through. He's a guy Rochester can get behind. Congratulations to Dom. Best of luck in what likely will be a PGA career.
Love the local guys. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. We are here on location from the Genesee Brew House. Todd, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Guys, nice job. Thanks for joining us on the original Rochester Press Box. We'll see you next week.